We should go there.
No.
Whoa! Go!
Where are we?
I'm not sure.
Dad?
I'll take care of this.
Ah! All right, Dad, go get him. Oh, man, they're really...
I'm loving this.
Stone Age, boy. Those were the good old days. You know, that's when you can just come and knock a woman across her head and drag her by her hair across the street.
Yeah, dude. You got women like Betty walking around, like Betty Rubble. Like, hell yeah, I'm gonna knock her over her head, then I'm gonna knock her upside.
I was a Wilma man myself. You know, she was
same here. But the downside of what you're saying is you got to think about what that woman looked like.
Yeah,
like,
true.
How much fur she was
high,
covered in.
fur, high forehead ridges.
Oh yeah, but the Croods. This is something that came out of nowhere for me. I really didn't hear about this movie. I saw this poster for about a year before I knew what it was about.
Sure, and it looked like something like, okay, this is going to be a low-level movie, probably direct-to-video.
Yeah. It's going to be like an Ice Age sequel. Is what it felt like.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? You're right. That's what I was afraid of about this movie, is that it was going to be like Ice Age. And for the first few minutes of the movie, it was like that.
It does start off in that, like, okay, Nicolas Cage, maybe he shouldn't make animated movies, because it seems like whenever he's in one, they're just kind of right about in the middle, like
he is an animated movie.
Yeah, I was about to say, to me, he's a damn cartoon himself.
But it's almost like he tones himself down for animated cartoons, which is odd.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I know, right? Of all things.
but then there came that point where it's like, wait a minute. This is actually better than I was thinking it was going to be.
And I like this, man. It's a pretty cool story. I mean, it's where the Flintstones could walk outside and get their paper and their milk in the morning.
They're friends with the dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, they got dinosaurs they hang out with. The Croods, they go outside to get anything. They're dead. Yeah. At least that's what they're led to believe.
That's the rules.
All their neighbors have died from coming outside from something. So the father of the family, what's his name? Gus, Greg, whatever.
Grug.
Grug.
Yeah, Grug. Yeah,
it rhymes with hug.
Yeah. He tells his family, "Hey, stay the fuck out the sunlight.
If you leave, you die."
Yeah. So they
don't go to nothing new.
Yeah. Don't do anything.
It's new is through.
There ain't nothing out there that you need.
Yeah. What we do is we hide. That's what we do. We run to get something to eat. We run our ass right back inside. And it's only when the daughter starts to get, she's a teenager. She's saying, "Fuck this! I want to do something. I'm bored hanging out with y'all."
Her blood is flowing. It's time for her to explore.
Yeah.
She's tired of this family shit.
And she's voiced by Emma Stone. She starts to wander out, and as she's wandering, she runs into another human being by the name of Guy, voiced by Ron Reynolds. And
appears to be a Cro-Magnon as opposed to a Neanderthal.
Well, yeah. I kept
look at the big brain on Cyrus.
I knew that shit, man.
I'm a little evolved. I have a larger brain pan. It's okay.
Well, I kept thinking like, since when did fucking Lenny Kravitz decide to be in this movie all of a sudden?
And by the way, that big ass head of yours, you better know some things. But Guy is. He's like, man, I ain't like y'all. I ain't no cave person. I'm out here. I do things. I invent shit. I explore stuff.
I'm in a band.
He's like the city boy who comes to the Ozarks.
Yeah,
and they are the toothless rednecks.
Oh, he looks like somebody that just got a Burning Man. But anyway, he's like, look, y'all can hide in that cave all you want to, but what you're missing is that I'm looking around me. I can tell what's going on. This place is going to go down. I call it the end of the world.
Let me clarify, Eep. The world is ending.
What?
I'm calling it the end.
Dun, dun, dun.
We gotta get to high ground. Come with me.
So I'm going to go somewhere else. I don't know where it ain't happening. Y'all can come with me or you don't have to.
God is demolishing the slums to make way for new high-rises. So.
And he said, y'all can come with me. And they take that literally, where they just pick his ass up and kidnap him and said, all right, yeah, you're going to take us to safety. And
they do.
Yeah, and they do. And it's from that point. See, all the stuff with Eep being on, I don't like the angsty, pouty teenage kid in animated movies, because I see that a lot, and usually they're used to no effect except to just whine a lot, and that's what Eep was like to me for a long time in this movie. But it's once they get out the cave and they start to try to journey from point A to point B, like they do in a lot of animated movies today, that's where the movie actually becomes good to me, because the strength of this film is all the visuals, all the environments, and all the creative stuff they do with the animals.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you that. The environments I thought looked just amazing. It would have been that much. I don't know if it would have been that much more amazing if it were in 3D. Like when we went to go see the screening, we were all originally told this was going to be in 3D. We were all given 3D glasses.
That's the thing that we should mention to people. Man, we went to see this, and they told us it was in 3D, and they got the wrong print, and it wasn't. And we sat there for the longest time watching this movie, and it wasn't until Cyrus sat up there and told me, he's like, I don't think this is in 3D. and I tried to be cool about it. I was like,
I knew that.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm just wearing these to be cool, but I felt like a dumbass.
And you whispered to me, he's like, hey, man, it's not 3D. And I was just like,
pass it on.
Bullshit.
And at that point, then you just want to be self-righteous and get up and look at everybody behind you, go like, it's not in 3D, you fools.
Take off the glasses.
Take them off.
It's people. I mean, because I felt like an asshole sitting there.
Well,
but like I said, the animation, the look of it was really amazing. But I mean, I get what you're saying. That whole angsty girl angle has been played to death.
Yeah, I didn't mind the angsty girl thing. I mean, to be honest, more so than a lot of them, she has a very good point in all her angstiness.
I know.
It's like she's not just being irrational. Everyone else is being irrational and kind of dickish. I'm like, hey, I like this character. I like her a lot. And as far as the glasses thing go, wow, thank God we discovered it, because once they get to Avatar, everything, because they do. They're just like, oh, it's just rocks. And then they're like, oh, wow, it's that movie Avatar. Now we're here.
You know what?
Where all the creatures are mixtures of like creatures from like the regular world and like they're things that didn't really exist.
It's Pokemon.
They're not trying.
I'm sorry. I thought you meant Avatar, the movie, not Avatar, the cartoon series.
No, it's a combination of both.
It is a combination of both. Because the funny thing is, it's almost like watching this, I felt like, okay, somebody has listened to me, and they decided to try to make that Flintstones movie I always wanted to see, and then discovered they didn't have the rights to the Flintstones, so they just did a few character swaps.
Well, you just got to relate everything to the Flintstones.
You know what? Normally I don't, but I think here I should have carte blanche.
This is
to relate
nothing like the
everything to
Flintstones.
That's your favorite cartoon.
I know.
This movie is totally like a Flintstones movie.
Leon drives a car with his feet, by the way.
Hey, man, it gets me from point A to point B.
Not because he wants to, Corey.
Well, true. It is. I mean, with what Spill pays, that's all I can afford.
Hey, you know what? Good gas mileage, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, you're protecting the environment.
But it is like they said, like, okay, our spin we'll make it more realistic. Like, there'll be actual Neanderthals. There won't be dinosaurs and only, those creatures from that time. But they did go like, yeah, but what if we did a bunch of gene splicing and had turtle birds? And
which I enjoyed. They were funny. Every time
funny.
they did that, I was like, all right, this film's not taking itself seriously on that level. And it kind of plays that card early on, and I go, that's fine.
It's
I'm
cool.
with you.
But I mean, it was still. I mean, it was something the movie needed, because I mean, if they would have presented, I mean, we've seen saber-toothed tigers a billion goddamn times. So the fact that they got a little creative with it, that was cool, because it was fun to watch. But I think like the best part of what worked for me, like halfway through, I was really like, okay, I am not liking this movie at all. I'm not. Some of the humor really wasn't doing anything at all for me. I thought some of the humor at the very beginning was really bad, kind of lazy writing on their part. But as soon as they got into to the relationship between Guy and just him trying to get through this family, like, hey, look, there are a lot of things out here that you just, you got to go explore. We got to fight to make sure that we're still alive. And yet at the same time having to deal with the father, Grud. Yeah. As soon as him and Grud started having their fucking
alpha
pissing,
male.
their pissing contest with each other, that's where the movie picked up for me, where I understood Grud's pain as far as being like, okay, this guy is kind of here to replace me, and I ain't gonna let that shit happen. and that was the part. That was the fun part of the movie.
I was already liking it by that point. I mean, in the beginning, I know what you're saying, where the humor wasn't all that. It's like, well, these jokes are they're just kind of mid-level. I mean, in the beginning, I was just thankful that it didn't live up to its name, the Croods, and they weren't farting and everything through every joke. But it didn't take long, like, once they got on the move, that I was like, hey, I'm liking this better than I thought I would. And by the time it gets to the pissing contest, when the focus shifts to Grug and him, like, he's been the father, he's been the protector, and his role is sort of being eroded away. I thought it reached a new level where I'm like, wow, I'm actually on the side where I'm kind of loving this movie now.
It picked up significantly as well. Like I said, I didn't have a problem with the teen daughter. And in fact, at that point, that story actually started to have a certain amount of resonance even to it, which is more than you expect. Where I'm like, I'm actually really feeling this gulf that's formed between them there and wanting them to find some solution.
I agree with everybody in this room.
Again?
Just take the easy way out. I see value in all of you.
Give it a matinee.
Yeah. So there you go. You take the easy way out of this. No,
It's like, I'm going to edit this so I said all that shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And by the way, I like how proud you were earlier when you said, well, on Spill's check, I can't afford nothing. And did you notice the way he grabbed his collar like Rodney Dangerfield? Hey,
I get no respect here.
Hey, don't say. I get no
He really
I get no
doesn't
big
get
checks.
it. Yeah, he really doesn't get any respect.
Yeah. But the reason why I say that is because I see your point, man. I don't see, that's another pet peeve of mine in all animation today. Whether it's 2D animation on TV, 3D animation on TV, 3D animation in the theaters, everybody has this sense of humor where it's loud and it's very physical. Characters yell, fall over each other, argue very loudly. I mean, it's almost as if they are thinking that if we just scream real loud and make these characters wail their arms everywhere, kids are going to find that funny.
It's catering to a Nick Jr. type crowd.
Yeah.
Almost like they've seen Spill.com.
Hey.
What are you
Quiet, you. You leave Corey and his scripts alone, all right?
Yeah, hey.
Calm down, bad lieutenant.
No. See what I'm saying is that you're right. It does. I wouldn't even say Nick Jr. It's just it's more of a Nickelodeon. I mean, Cartoon Network. Everybody's kind of doing it. I mean, people have been doing that kind of sense of humor ever since Ren and Stimpy started screaming and hollering. So everybody.
It's the same studio that did Madagascar, which is way too famous for that.
Well,
and you love Madagascar.
But I didn't love Madagascar.
Yes, you did. You fought me on that.
And you know what? And it's by the director, the guy who did Milo and Stitch. So what do you take from that?
Oh, wait. Well, what about the guy who did Lilo and Stitch?
What do they call him, Milo?
Did you mean Milo and Did you mean Milo and Otis? How many cavemen were killed in the making of this film?
Chris Sanders, the guy's name. You know what? When I was looking up that director and I saw that name Lilo and Stitch, I said I'm gonna say Milo or Milo or something. I knew I was gonna do that, but it's not something that is taking over the whole film. It's not like there's nothing else there, because like I said, I mean, I didn't really pay attention to the characters too much once they started getting into all these lush areas until they got to that point where you did have Grug and Guy having their rivalry going on with each other, trying to win the family's affection. I mean, I thought that was really funny because they make Grug so insecure.
Right.
There's a point where he's the equivalent of trying to act young. He's got dreadlocks. He's like, hey, I got ideas too.
I'm sure some people in this room can relate.
But there's about those three central characters are funny. Grug and Eep and Guy, and even some of the animals are funny. There's a parrot, tiger type animal that's chasing them through there. They have these two little animals, these rodents that are connected by the tail. They do funny things with those.
Don't forget about Sloth. He's the Guy's companion.
I did forget about Sloth because that was like
I don't know.
That's the kind of side character that's a little too cute for me. But see, I'm kind of complimenting the movie and criticizing at the same time, because with those characters I just named, I thought that they did a great job of making them entertaining. I thought some of your side characters
didn't have much to do.
Yeah, what was it? Catherine Keener plays the wife, Uba Gooba.
Yeah, they didn't ever give her shit to do.
Yeah, Ugga and Thunk Croods, the son, who's voiced by Clark Duke. Those characters, they weren't used at all.
As well as the grandma who has one joke.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I like her.
I mean, she only has the one joke though. It's like, the dad wants her to die. That's the only reason she's in.
You know what? She was that mother-in-law.
I kept thinking. I liked it better when National Lampoon Vacation did it more so than this.
Well, the thing is, if I may, this all goes back to the Flintstones, because Fred Flintstone always had that thing about hating his mother-in-law, and that's a thing that goes back to Jackie Gleason and the Life of Ryan.
That's what I wanted to say.
They were pulling from
anyone
those,
who's ever been married.
Yeah, but you know what?
They're pulling from those sources. I mean, they clearly never dropped that. That kept going.
That's
throughout.
what I was going to say. That's just me. Mother-in-law jokes where the son-in-law hates the mother-in-law. I love those things.
I do
man.
too.
And that what was funny through this, because the reason why I like that is because mother-in-laws don't stop fucking with the son-in-law. And that's what she did in this movie. She just kept messing with him. And there were moments whenever he didn't like something, and then if it was followed up by, well, she'll be killed, he's like, yeah, this is a good idea. Let's do it.
It was hard to dislike her when every moment she made a comment, it was usually true. It's like, no, you are fucking up. Like, leave this shit alone and let the young guy take care of it.
He was trying.
And you know what, Cloris
Trying
Leachman
means you're dying. All right?
and Cloris Leachman just does. I think she's really good at doing voices these days. I don't know what the last thing I've seen her in that I thought she was good in live action, but I've heard her do more animated voices that I thought she was funny in.
I thought she sounded like every other old lady now in animated
That's
films.
what I
I'm like,
thought,
yeah,
too.
they all sound like the same person to me now. I had to actually look her up because I thought she was the old lady who used to do the voice for Madam back in the day. And I was like,
That was a man.
That was a man.
Forget what I just said.
You know, co-host gets confused about
Wait,
that
did
stuff.
you know that? Did you know that Madam was actually a puppet and not a real?
No.
You know, I did appreciate.
Don't tell him about Dame Edna.
What? I appreciate the fact that they actually used that joke with the whole like a fucking hater. It's like, oh, we need to do this. We can't do this. It's stupid. She might die.
Yeah.
Oh, they use it to advance the plot like 4 times as the joke. It's like, no, we're not going to do this. Oh, we'll do it entirely because she might die and no other reason.
But I thought that was, I don't know, that amused me. Really, as the movie progresses, it gets more and more gorgeous. I mean, they just take you through these areas that they just don't look good. They just do a lot of imaginative things, not only with the environments and all the lush plants and wildlife around there, but the movie isn't afraid to. Okay, so it's a family film, it's a family animated film, and these characters are always talking about how dangerous this world is, and I'm thinking, yeah, but how dangerous can it be for an animated family film? And
shit,
I mean, there are moments they show you just how dangerous it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to spoil it for anybody because a lot of them are visual gags that are going to catch you off guard. But there were a lot of things where that's what I did. I look when something they don't have any problem showing you something dying here.
Oh, no.
And when it happened, I was like, God damn, that's a horrible way to die. The movie was actually thinking of some things that I thought, it's like too many goddamn animals in here. Yeah. Let's have something eat one of the others. And they would. And I like that. And you wait for the movie to tell the kids that, you know what, it's going to be okay. And the movie says, well, you can keep waiting because it's not. and they're dead.
And that's kind of like the more strong point of the whole movie is that they're willing to, you know, let kids know and us that, yeah, of course there are consequences. This is the end. I mean, you got to be stupid not to realize it. Nobody is looking like the Croods these days. Well, the exception of some unfortunate souls, but you know,
Hey, I'm the one with a bigger brain pan.
No comment. But I mean, that's like I said, it is one of the more surprising things about this movie. But I mean, once going back to the look of the film, there were some key moments in here, especially during some of the more action sequences, where, you know, they're just trying to get away from the world fucking splitting in half, where a lot of those scenes and a lot of the creature scenes that are done here looked almost better than a lot of the stuff you see in the bigger CGI movies, like the Prince of what was the Prince of Mars movie?
Yeah, John Carter.
The John Carter. Yeah, I thought some of the special effects looked more realistic in this than that, or even some of the Star Wars movies, where I'm like, man, they're getting the CG down to where there's scenes that look like they're actually being filmed.
Well, it's cool because it's stylized CG. I mean, that's the thing about watching a CG animated movie and seeing one where they're trying to mimic real life too much, which they do amazing things with CG in live action movies, but they're really able to do a lot of creative things in CG movies today, at least from a visual standpoint. And I think that's where the strongest point of this movie lies, as I said in the beginning. And
hopefully this art house, whoever worked on this, won't close down tomorrow.
Well, you know what? It was supposed to be done by Aardman Animation at one time. It was supposed to be a stop motion animated movie.
Really?
But Aardman left DreamWorks at one point, so
I can see that now.
Yeah, when this was turned over, they decided to make a CG animated movie, and that's where they got this.
Are those guys gone? Okay, good. Fire those computers.
Playing with all that,
playing with all that clay
and shit. Yeah.
You know, when you think about, because when you think about the character designs of this, it does now that I think about it, it does seem more suited for the Aardman type character.
Well, not really, because the characters are designed.
I'm saying that for me. I don't care about you.
Well, I'm telling you a fact right here,
Mr. Animation.
Let me give you. Excuse me, from the animation historian.
Yes, Mr. Animation director. director auteur.
Let me, because you
For
mislead
the creator of
people.
Space Jam.
Yeah,
Hey, Leon, when are they going to lay him off?
Excuse me, from the writer, creator, producer of Space Jam over here.
Oh, Spill Productions.
Yeah,
Look at that great piece of work.
a regular Walt Disney over here.
These two have got to start recording another show on their own. That's all I'm saying. We're never going to get a word in on these reviews until they do.
Well, I only say that because if you look at it, you can see a lot of character design from the guy that's Chris Sanders guy from Lilo and Stitch, because you see all the. There's something about that guy. He likes to draw big-legged women.
Well, that's the thing. And it's interesting to know he's the same guy because most of the animated women are dainty. They're all size zeros.
Yeah.
And he seems to be able to animate women who are a bigger size, almost like most women you see.
The Robert Crumb.
I was about to say,
Robert Crumb
isn't this Robert Crumb?
But they're still sexy. I mean, even Eep, I was it's times I was looking at her like at first they're all like, she's a big Cro-Magnon. But after a while, I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
I'd tap that.
Dude, she's in high school.
She's 16. But you know what?
but there
in the
was
prehistoric age,
in
16
prehistoric
is like
times.
32.
Yeah.
And the way that dress was on her, the way it was like, right around her neck,
Barely
and
hanging
came out,
on
I was
the
like,
side.
man, I think I see a nip slip.
Oh, man.
I'm going to turn my head
You
this way.
just creepy, man. I
Dad's
can't.
supposed to be
You know
protecting
what?
their family, and he's like keeping her from a boy he's interested. I'm like, dude, you're doing a terrible job protecting the family. You need to impregnate her immediately.
God damn it, Leon. I wish they did have a nip slip so you can see that hair come out before that nipple. Yeah. Just to fucking get your brain
but
right.
I mean, that's the thing I keep reminding myself. I'm like, yeah, even if you got with her, she would stink to high heaven.
She was stinking. Her nipples probably have a beard. I mean, Anyway,
but the mom was hot too when she let her hair down.
Oh yeah. When
You know what? Speaking of the mom, though,
believe we're
I thought
having
that
this
was the only other problem with the look of the characters. There was moments where the mom was talking to a guy where I thought throughout those scenes I was like, wait, where's the daughter? Is this the daughter? Because they look too similar. Like way too similar.
It is unrealistic for a mother to look like her daughter.
Once she had
Be quiet.
well, no, I know what you mean. Once they had the same hairstyle, they kind of look
It's the same hairstyle, and I couldn't tell who was playing.
They actually weren't the same hairstyle. Because if it was anything, I would say that once the mom let her hair down, it looks styled.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to argue with a guy who was paying fucking all kinds of attention to that daughter.
I know he was thinking. He knows the difference because
No. Eep had the whole Rosanna Dana haircut.
Yeah, exactly.
I guarantee you this motherfucker went home and drew that shit. Probably had some fun time.
Oh yeah,
in the
yeah.
bathroom.
I'm about to say, drew it in the bathroom.
What are you doing, spying on me?
Wonder what crayon you use for that. Anyway, I'm wrapping my review up. I probably made this sound a little harsher than it did, talking about death and all that. The movie is fun throughout. I mean, yeah, it's a harsh reality of this family, but everything is treated lightly, and all the visual gags in here, for the most part, they work. I don't like when the family is interacting and arguing with each other. I know there's a part that everyone liked in this movie that I did not like. There's a part where they're doing the whole, I'm going to turn this family around if you can't get along type thing. I think those kind of jokes are old and whatnot, but those jokes aren't that many in the movie. Most of them are visual gags that really work, and I'm going to give this a matinee.
Oh. Well, I probably like this movie better than all the rest of you guys because it just played into so many things I like.
I bet it did.
Stones, yeah.
The
Underage cave girls.
Yeah. The things I really like.
But yeah, the Flintstones reference, the relationships between the characters, the fact that it does something that I love, that it ends up a lot better than where it starts. Because where it starts was okay, but where it goes to a really great place. The jokes get better, the story gets better, and there's something that happens toward the end that I was genuinely touched by. I was like, I'm not gonna cry.
Yeah, him and the rest of the kids in the movie were crying.
Your love affair with that girl ended.
Isn't that funny when the loudest baby in the theater is Leon?
It's
I was
so
like, man,
noble.
this sounds great. I got to mention this in the review.
It's like, Corey, you got to take your Leon to the lobby. If he's gonna cry
I
like
had
that.
to carry him out.
Gotta change that bitch's diaper.
And on top of everything else, the movie was just a surprise in itself because, hey, we're still in that time where we get shitty movies. And as much as it looked like it was going to be one, it just so wasn't. I love this movie. I give it a full price.
You know, I flat out did not enjoy the first, reel of this film, basically. Like, the first act is just dull. There's nothing we haven't seen before. But once they introduce, the new guy who comes in, was it Gus?
Guy.
Yeah, appropriately. The new guy. I know. And this is why I fail. Once they introduce him, things do pick up because you actually start to have character dynamics between all these characters that are interesting, and it builds upon it. Well, yeah, I went from like totally bored to really with it, and by the end of it, I agree. It was heartfelt in a way that was kind of touching. That being said, there's points all throughout that make you go, this is old. We've seen this before. I think, Corey, you and I are kind of simpatico on this one. I'd definitely give it a matinee.
Of course we are.
Yeah.
Trying to be like you, man. That big brain.
Didn't Al Pacino play simpatico at some point?
No, that was was it Simone?
Trying to think for a second.
I saw that movie, man.
He was the undercover cop who agreed with everybody.
You didn't take no guff.
Is it guilty or not? Yes.
Yeah.
Which one?
Oh, well, I mean, you guys have pretty much said it all. So I'll just repeat everything you just said.
Sure.
Yeah. The first half of this movie it wasn't doing it for me. It wasn't until they introduced the guy character where they actually had something to build from, just the dynamic of the family and, the rivalry between Nicolas Cage and Ryan Reynolds, which, I'd like to see that in an actual movie someday, or maybe not.
Face Off 2.
I don't think so.
Ghost Rider Part 3.
Yeah, Ghost Rider versus Green Lantern.
But I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be it.
Oh, my God. Yeah. South by Southwest, pick that up, please.
I'll pick it up, throw it in the trash.
Pick it up, throw it at Leon.
I'll throw it at you, man.
You're the one who said you wanted to see it.
I say a lot of dumb things.
Finally we agree on something.
Hey, quiet, you.
Where's
I've had about enough of you tonight. Yeah, I mean, it did halfway through. It did turn out to be a better film than I was expecting. I was really dreading the whole Ice Age. Just here we go again with this shit. But the parts I found I enjoyed, so I'm giving it a matinee across the board.
All right, then. Good. I'm glad we can finish up so I can go change Leon. Come on, boy.
Put that bone in his hand.
So beautiful.
DreamWorks The Croods.
What is that?
Fire.
It's biting me!
Try hiding from it in the tall, dry grass!